Hi, I'm Katie. I wanted to share a verse with you I'm sure that you have heard, especially if you are a believer. It was even on my Christmas card this year. And I want to make sure that we actually fully understand what this verse means, because if we want the promise at the end of the verse, we're not going to get it if it's contingent on the first part of the verse. And we don't understand that and don't do it, we can't get from here to here, which is what we really, really want to do. So here's the verse, 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. We definitely want our land healed right now, right, Americans? So if we're the church, that means it's our responsibility. If we want healing for our land, that falls on us. All well and good to say it's someone else's responsibility and they need to fix their mess, but this verse clearly states that it's our responsibility to heal our land and what we need to do. So what are these wicked ways that we need to turn from as believers? Because this is addressing believers. This is not addressing anybody else. So this is specific to us. Our wicked ways, Lance Wall put it very well. It's anything that's causing us to not seek God's face. So what do you have in your life that you're doing, that you're not doing, that is causing you not to seek his face every day? And this also goes to what is being preached from the pulpit. Think about the prodigal son. He wanted all the blessings of the Father away from the Father. Away from the Father's rules. He didn't want to be under his household anymore. But he also, when he did that, removed himself from his Father's protection. And that's what we as a church have done. We softened the message. We've moved ourselves away from what God wanted us to do, and we've moved ourselves away from his protection. We've not been addressing hard issues like abortion and the family unit in church. There are preachers out there, bless them, who are being attacked for it. And I think that's so silly that someone would attack the messenger who is reading the Bible instead of saying, oh, I have a problem with that passage. Maybe I should study it and find out why I have a problem with that passage and ask God about it rather than attacking whoever dares read it. That just seems silly to me, but that's the way the world works. So we're sitting buddy-buddy with these people trying to make nice with them so it'll fill the churches and everybody will just get along. Do they really just want to get along? And when the chips are down, like they are now, and governors were trying to close down churches unlawfully, and thank goodness that was shown to be unconstitutional, and churches who are fighting it are winning, no problem. But was anybody coming to our aid, really? And that's what happens when you go and party and live the high life with people who don't really care. They're not our brothers and sisters in Christ. So why do you expect when times are hard that they're going to be there for us? Let's make everything smooth and good, and then boom, you fall flat on your face in the pigsty. And that's where we find ourselves. So that's not a good place for the church to be. And we do need to realize that even though we may be kicking against some of God's rules, it makes us uncomfortable to follow them, makes us unpopular to follow them. We're living under his protection when we do. And that's a far better place to be than the pigsty. One more thing I wanted to address is there's a lot of talk about revival. And do we really expect revival to happen when the churches aren't ready for it? I'd encourage you to look up the history of the Jesus movement in California. That is a very interesting study. And it basically talks about how the reason why it happened is one pastor decided to open his door to hippies. And they were dirty, unwashed, on drugs, drunk, dressed really weird. And he insisted that the doors must be open for them as well. And that started a huge movement over here in California. So what happens when Christians are finally ready to accept people across the board? Right now, think about who might you go like, oh, they want to come in? If you have that thought in your heart, where's the room for revival? There are so many people right now who've been disillusioned to, who are confused and angry because they got what they thought they wanted and it's not turning out the way that they were told it was going to turn out. They're not happy about it. They don't like being lied to more than anybody else, and they're looking for answers. Who has the truth? Who can help them? Who can give them hope in this time of confusion? It's going to be the person who is willing to talk to them in the first place. So we need to be able to put that aside, any prejudice that we have against any type of people out there, no matter what they've done to us in the past, and realize that those are the people that God is really ready to reach out to and welcome in. And we should welcome them as well, because they're going to be our brothers and sisters, and they're going to need people to help them grow. They're going to be on fire, excited about God, and making a huge movement if there's room for them to do so, if there's a place for them to go for answers. So let's be that place. Let's study this verse. What are our wicked ways that are causing us not to seek God's face? Are we not being humble as we're told to? Are we not in prayer as we're supposed to be? Let's meet that criteria and watch the healing happen. The most important thing I want to leave with you is that no matter what happens, God must get the glory. If man is getting the glory for restoring our nation, how is that a win? It's going to be so short-lived. God must get the glory, whatever happens.